gentle and restorative class for this week. And I know I've got a big smile on my face, but there is a hard subject I've been talking about this week, and I'm smiling because I am happy, as hard as this subject is to face, that it is surfacing and people obviously are starting to talk about it, and I'm going to explain all that. We did a class, and you guys were with me during that practice where I was talking about healing and how 2023 is said to be the year of healing according to astrology and numerology. With that being said, healing has to take place first at the state of awareness, where you become aware of what it is that needs to be healed. With that awareness comes the knowledge, right? It needs to be healed. And then we have to move into acceptance that it happened. It doesn't mean we have to think that it was, because most likely not. But any happens at a physical level generally starts at an energetic, emotional, or psychological level. I just got a message saying my internet is unavailable. Can one of you pipe up? And it looks like you're still with, but I just want to make sure.
You're good.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much. That was a weird message. Never got that before. So going back to healing and going back to anything that happens physically in the body, underlying it generally is something energetic, emotional, or psychological. I'm going to trust that you maintained and retained some of that information for yesterday, because I want to go ahead and get into what I want to say today. I mentioned the movie Sound of Freedom and the awareness of child trafficking. We know that child trafficking, human trafficking, and female trafficking is a problem, is an issue, and it has been for a long time, but more attention is being placed upon it right now. And that's a good thing, because this is systemic in our society. It is an epidemic in the world. And if we want to heal and evolve, then we have to be aware that it exists. We have to admit that it's happening. And then we have to bring so much compassion to it. So after I shared my classes and all this information the other day, I may have mentioned to you that there was a woman that approached me who shared that she was taking care of her mother who has Alzheimer's. And she loves her mother, wanted to take care of her mother. All her siblings were scattered through the world. So she was the closest in proximity, and she wanted her mother to move in with her, but she didn't want her stepfather to move in with her. Her mother, due to the mental condition, refused to move in with her unless her husband could come. Now, the reason why this lady did not want the stepfather to come into her house is because he was her abuser for 17 years. And obviously, as a 60-something-year-old woman, she was feeling all the emotions coming up with having her abuser coming into her home and being under her care. He needs care too. He's not well. This time frame of her parents moving in with her, her mother, unfortunately, is now in a different place, in a home. He has not gotten so bad that he needs to go somewhere else, so he's still living with her. But she was sharing, this is not the end of the story. That's already hard enough to hear, right? And you can probably have so much compassion for her. And I'm telling her, wow, so much compassion for you to be able to do this. And she goes, you know, I've talked to him about what he did to me, and he knows it happened, but he won't apologize for what he did. And I just have to bring the compassion back to myself. Either way, compassion is playing such a huge role in this relationship now. But what made it a little harder to hear was that when COVID happened, when the world shut down and people couldn't go to work and started working from home, all these business calls and meetings were on Zoom, what we're doing here. And within the Zoom, for the meetings, the videos are on. Everybody can see each other's environments, their homes, their office space. Also people, right, popping in and out of the screen, people that live in the same environment. She, through this process, decided she would open up and share how hard it was to be stuck at home with this man who needed her care, but had been her abuser. And she had worked in this field with these same people for over a decade. And you guys, 4 or 5 women, the exact same thing, having to care for an abuser. That's intense. That's harsh. That's unfathomable to me, honestly. But the wild thing is, one of the reasons I was running late today to get to this class is I shared the same story with them, and a woman called me after class. There were only 4 women in this class, you guys. One woman pulled me aside and said, "I'm so glad you're talking about this subject. I too have just worked with 2 women, one of them being young, 19 years old, and the other one was in her 20s. And they had also been abused by their stepfathers, and they both were having to live at home, and their mothers knew, but didn't know what to do, didn't have the resources, didn't have the strength to protect them, therefore kind of allowed it. And so she was being an advocate for them because too had survived some abuse. So for this class to be so small and for another person to come up and say, this is what's happening, I feel like this is such an important topic to talk about, because yoga and meditation can help us to become more aware. Yoga and meditation can help us to transfer energy to heal. More importantly, yoga and meditation can give us that Christ-like, divine, feminine compassion. And I'm going to say something that I felt like was a download to me a couple months ago when I was driving. I get downloads when I drive for some reason, but I had this download when I was driving that I have compassion for the people who do this, because it most likely was done to them. It most likely is something that feels out of control, or something that they're just doing what was done to them and keeping it going. And it doesn't excuse it. It doesn't excuse it at all. But it goes back to that saying, hurt people hurt people. And they don't have the strength and the power to override it. I don't know what to do with it, but I know as a society, we need to come together and to figure out how to help people. I got one more thing to say, and then I promise we're going to move. I think this ties into something that I was listening to the other day, and it was about Mary Magdalene. We know that, at least when I was growing up, and probably when you were growing up, you may have heard Mary Magdalene was a whore, a prostitute. She wasn't. Nowhere in the scripture does it say that. This was like a rumor or gossip that just catapulted through and lasted for years and years on end. It has been said through legend that she was actually a princess. Her father was a king. They were rich. They had a kingdom, and they were overtaken, and she and her family had to go into exile. Now, with that being said, in biblical scriptures, it does say when Jesus was with her, he cleared 7 demons from her. Now, demons can represent different things, right? It can represent an evil spirit. but it can also represent toxicity. It can represent trauma. It can represent emotional turmoil. And I want to relate this back to the chakras, because a lot of scholars or theologians will say that there were 7 deadly sins cleared from her. And when I heard this the other day, I was like, oh, wow, this makes more sense to me. Because we all have blockages in our chakras. We all have stuff. We all have issues. We all have emotions. We all have some sort of trauma that we need to heal. And think about if she was in that big of a traumatic transition or change, seeing her people killed, seeing her home taken away, having to move to a foreign land. That's a lot to go through. But she also became the leader of the women in early Christianity. She was the first person to see Jesus after the resurrection. She was talked about over and over again and usually mentioned first. She traveled with him and the disciples. She and the women helped to take care of the men as they spread the news, and they helped to work with women. So the 7 deadly sins, I want you to think about how this could tie in with chakras. Sloth, lust, greed, envy, gluttony, anger, wrath. It brings a whole new perspective for me when I look at it from a spiritual nature, when I look at it as not being so literal, but as something more symbolic. It's kind of cool. That's why I'm smiling, because I feel like all of this is coming to light for humanity and for us to continue to ascend, and what I've been talking about the last couple years. All right, that was a lot. But it all goes back to healing and awareness, and we'll start on the mat. We are going to both move and restore today. I want us to start in a pose where we're in reclined butterfly. If you wanted to use your bolster under your legs, if you prefer blocks under your knees, you can, of course, add that in. And we're going to roll down to the back. Your arms could be on or off the body. I'm putting us in a position right now that's most ideal for the second chakra. And the second chakra rules creativity and procreation, duality, it's one's own seat or abode. It rules the reproductive organs, the sexual organs. And with this topic of healing, we know it relates back to sexual healing. If this topic triggers you at all, you may notice your heart may begin to palpitate or increase. You might notice a rise in your blood pressure. A change in your breath. But I want you to open your eyes right now to see that you're in a safe space. And then turn the eyelids back down. Take deep sips of breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. Feeling your chest and belly expand as you breathe in. And relax as you breathe out. Notice if any muscles are tightening. And if so, send it love and compassion. As we're resting here, we're going to focus on 7 breaths, moving up the ladder of the chakras. On the first inhale, breathe into your legs and feet. As you breathe out, send anything that creates an imbalance within your state of survival or sense of safety away. Your next breath, breathe in to the pelvic floor, to your low back and belly. As you exhale, imagine you're sending out any imbalances away. Returning to your own abode. Your next breath in, breathe into the abdomen. As you breathe out, imagine you're sending any toxins, any pent up emotion away. Your next breath in, breathe up into your heart space. And as you exhale, send any and all impurities of the heart away. On the next breath, bringing tension to your neck, throat. You exhale, imagine you're breathing out anything that prohibits you speaking and living your truth away. Next breath, breathing up into your face, brow, prefrontal lobe of the brain. Exhale, sending out anything that blocks your discernment, your intuitive guidance, or anything prohibiting you from being embodied with compassion away. Next breath, breathe up into your crown. Send the crown of thorns away that creates any suffering, and instead put a golden crown upon your head, knowing you are the true authority of your life. Taking command and control of your mind, body, and spirit. On your next inhale, let's reach the arms overhead, but as you exhale, lift the knees together, bring the arms around to take a hold of them and hug them in. Embracing yourself warmly. And then give a little love to your back and kidneys by gently swaying side to side, rocking back and forth. Turning over to one side completely, pushing down through the top hand to come up to sit. When you come up to sit, we're going to open up the side body, lifting the arms first overhead. With the arms reaching towards the heavens above, palms facing one another, lace your hands up and pump the wrist skyward. Now, I want you to take a moment to close your eyes and to tune within. Without driving yourself too much or efforting too much to maintain this position, just notice where you feel a little crankiness, maybe any pockets of discomfort or any sensation that's standing out. Notice where it is in your torso. It may even be in your lower body. I'm going to continue to emphasize the importance of the chakras throughout the rest of this year for healing. We're going to separate the hands, bring one hand down, take the top arm over, and ensure that the opposite side of your seat is not wanting to levitate. So root it back to the earth. Feel free to spin the pinky down to rinse out the shoulder. Inhale, coming back up, and just rainbow the hands over to the opposite side, creating the seated side bend here. Don't forget to open up your breath. The breath is what brings the new energy in. And that's what we're working with. At the subtle level, we're transferring and transmuting energy so that we can be filled with strength and courage to face our personal and collective healing. Inhale, let's draw it back up to the top, and we're going to come up to stand. When you come to stand, walk to the front of your mat and separate your toes really wide. Lengthen through your legs and lift a little bit through the abdomen and join and unite your hands to prayer. Standing tall and attentive in this variation of Tadasana. And on your in-breath, circle the arms up overhead. And as you exhale, you're landing on the right foot, bringing the right hand to the hip and the left hand to hold the left knee. Notice the strength in the standing leg. The focal point you need to maintain with your eyes, and whether or not the breath is steady. Exhale, let's release the left foot. Press down through both soles of the feet, straighten out through both legs, zip up to your core, unite the hands together again. All right, inhale, sweep the arms out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Lean the weight onto the left leg. And when you're ready, left hand to the waist, right hand will cup the right knee. A modification of Padangusthasana A. See what you're tuning into now as you set your drishti and maintain your breath. All right, bring foot down. Bring your hands to prayer position at your heart. Close your eyes and affirm as I move through life, I stay anchored in myself. All right, inhale, bend the knees, circle the arms up to your Utkatasana, your chair pose. And as you exhale, your hands are going to come together and you're going to bend the knees more. And then inhale, lift the hips higher to chair, arms overhead. Exhale, hands together, bend the knees to down. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. 1 more. Hands to the hips, straighten your legs, step the right foot back. Now, we're going to balance this way, lifting the right foot, angling the trunk forward. This way, as the foot just hovers above the floor, if you start to lose your balance, you can dip the toe back down. If you want to play with your flexibility, you can continue to flex the back ankle. Push through the ball of the foot and hinge forward from your hips. Gently come up. Lower the right foot. Remember the affirmation. As I move through life, I remain anchored in myself. Left foot steps back. Exhale, tip forward. This is the pose. Discern to stay here or extend through the crown, through the left leg, flexing the ankle, pushing through the ball of the foot, and maybe becoming a little bit more parallel to the ground. And inhale, come up. Hands together. Sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, knees. Push back with your hips. Hands together. And we're coming back down as we did when we were doing the chair flow. Except this time we're going to lift the heels, be on the balls of the feet. And of course, right, you can always use blocks to help you to balance or your hands to balance if you can't get the spine fully erect. See what's possible. All right, if you haven't brought your hands down, we're going to do that now to lower the feet all the way and to straighten out through the legs. Double over, shimmy the head and the neck. And then let's focus on the legs more. Push down to the feet, straighten out through the legs, pull up through the knees, draw in through the navel. Add in your pranayama work, your breath control. But remember, prana actually means energy. Moving things in, we're clearing things out. Inhale, slide your hands up your shins, elongate the vertebrae, come to Ardha Uttanasana, and then exhale, pour back down. And we're gonna do that 2 more times. Inhale, sliding the hands up the legs, reaching out from your sternum. Exhale, collapse back down. One more, inhale, slide it up. Elongate the vertebrae. Exhale, release. All right, from here, we're gonna step the left foot back behind us. When we step the left foot back behind us, we're gonna lower the back knee, and we're gonna stay on fingertips, palms, or fists, and we lift the head to look out. We're gonna come back onto the hands, and we're gonna lift the back knee. Now, if you just lift the back knee, you may notice you're heavy in your seat. You're heavy in your back thigh. So it requires a little bit more effort. Push through the right foot, push through the ball of the back foot, uplift through the pelvic floor, uplift through your left thigh bone, reach out again through your trunk. And when you're ready, step the back foot forward and immediately step back with your right foot, descend the back knee, keep the back toes curled if you can, and then determine fingers, palms, fists. Of course, blocks can work too, but lift your head, gaze out with your eyes. When you're ready, turn your hands back down, pluck the back knee up. Notice how we can get really heavy and we can drag and sink into the joints, but we're gonna work by lifting through the root block, putting a long energy line from the right heel through the crown of the head. And from here, we're gonna step back, plank. Once we're in plank, be here and let your arms be like pillars holding you up. Exhale, tilt your hips up and back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, come to your knees. Rock forward and sink the chest and chin, Ashtanga Pranam. Building strength. Inhale, push up. Exhale, lean back. Similar to child's, but something we sometimes call Mecca. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, bend down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, push back. All right, one more. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, surrender down, knees, chest, chin, Ashtanga Pranam. Inhale, press up. Exhale, rock it back. All right, this time when you come forward, you're gonna untuck the toes. You're going to sink through the hips. Stay strong through your arms. Try not to collapse into your shoulders. So you're pushing through your hands. You're lifting through your neck. And exhale, rock back. Child's. One more of those. Inhale, come forward. Keep the hips elevated off the floor if you can. Heels turning in. And then exhale, child's. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. And we're gonna bring the left knee and shin behind the hands. Drop the back leg and send it back behind you. So here we have what's called pigeon or swan. If you need deer pose, you can bring that right knee in, be at an angle as you fold. If you're in pigeon, your hips are square, you're folding straight down the middle of your mat. Now be here and breathe here. Remember when we were lifting the arms overhead at the beginning of class? And noticing where we felt sensation, the pulling, the tension, the limitations. I'm going to do the same thing here. Be tender and compassionate to those areas. You can even imagine, we were talking about pigeons and doves last week, being a symbol of love and hope and peace, loyalty and devotion. Imagine that type of bird with an olive branch in its beak, fluttering into the areas that need support. Next inhale, gently come up and you'll affirm, I rise above the past and future to this moment of now. Curl the back toes, come back to down dog. Feel the residual effect here. You may even feel some drainage from the left hip, streaming down through the left leg. And we'll bring it now to the right. Right knee and shin will come forward towards the hands. The left leg will slide back. You can obviously change it up to deer if that's better for you. So deer, you're folding at an angle, and pigeon, you're folding straight ahead. So figure out which you can manage. It's what the breath provides. Calmness, clarity, even the state of compassion. Let it flow through your mind, body, and spirit. Inhale, coming up, affirming, I rise above the past and future to this moment of now. And as you land your hands down, curl the back toes, take it to Adho Mukha Svanasana, your downward facing dog. Stretching up and out, up and out, up and out. And as you exhale, come on down. All right, we're gonna slow down our practice, bring it back to the floor. Have a block, please. And when you come to your back, step your feet in. Lift the buttocks up. Slide the block below your sacrum. And then open your hands. Just starting here in supported bridge. Close your eyes. Take 7 more breaths. And if you know the chakra stations in the body, the first are the legs and the feet. The second is the low belly, low back. The third is the upper belly. The fourth is the chest area, arms and hands. The fifth is the throat. The sixth is the face and brow. And the seventh is the crown. Breathe 7 times, working from the base to the top. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Points. And then flex. Point. And flex. Now bend the left knee and stiff arm that leg with your left hand. Pushing the two together. And then as you exhale, release your hand to your side again, but extend your left leg long and rest the heel on the mat. Breathe 7 times here. When you complete it, step your left foot back, half bridge, and then inhale, right leg up. Point and flex. Point and flex. Bend the knee, stiffen the arm it with your right hand, pushing the two together, creating your resistance. And then release the arm, extend your right leg, reside on that right heel. Really, really believe that when we can face this collective healing through awareness, through knowledge, through acceptance, through forgiveness, through, reforming, then we're able to bridge our way from the third dimension, where we experience a lot of duality and pain and suffering, to the fifth dimension, where there will be more light, more love, more compassion, more peace on earth. Let's be that bridge. Let's see if we can step the left foot out. If that's too much, bend the knees. And then we'll all step the feet back. We'll tuck and lift away from the block. We'll slide it from below. We'll roll to our backs and re-hug the knees. Give them a squeeze. And then open your arms. Let the knees roll left. Be in the twist. The twist that helped to activate the 7 chakras. The 7 chakras that have the colors that represent the rainbow. So again, if you have any area in your body that's constantly being problematic, maybe visualize you're sending that dove with the olive branch, or you're bringing the flash of bright rainbow colors to blast that area with light. Inhale, knees roll up. Exhale, knees roll right. All right, so roll to your right side. Come up. And this is just a suggestion because really you can take any pose for relaxation. But I was going to suggest maybe a back bend since compassion really has two places. And the primary place is the heart, right? Because that's an aspect of love. And love emblazes the heart. That's where it's encoded. But a lot of scientific studies have equally shown compassion can also stem from the prefrontal lobe of the brain. And these two are the intuitive centers as well. So if you want a different position, of course you can take it. But I was just thinking heart primarily. So I thought we could do a restorative back bend. And of course, you can turn the bolster either direction. Yesterday, we used a rolled blanket to open the heart. And some even prefer a slide with their back. Meaning you create a slide with the blocks and the bolster, and then you lay your spine across it. Feel free to cover your eyes or body to stay warm or to stimulate the vagus nerve by calming it down with some weight on the brow. Our hearts be open, for we are a being of love. May our hearts remain open, for we are beings of love. Affirming, I am opening my heart to love. I am a being of love. I am compassionate in nature towards myself. I can share my compassion with others because I am a compassionate being. I am loving and passionate. Take 7 more breaths. Maybe this time, breathe it through the top chakra, the 7th at the crown. Move down the face, the throat, the heart, the belly, pelvic floor, legs, and feet. Sliding the feet in, rolling away to one side. Let's use our bolster to sit on. Uniting the hands together. Remembering the power of the breath, how it can help us to be intimate and go into the innermost spaces within, but it also connects us to the wide open, the beyond, what lies outside. The breath help you to feel supported by the heavens. May the breath help you to find safety in the hermitage of your heart. Namaste.